A great horror game can methodically deliver terror and variety. Is it the gore that twists your stomach? Uneasy atmospheric tones that make you look over your shoulder, or jump scares that cause you to fall from your seat? If you're ready to torment yourself, here are 5 horror games you need to play.
No happy ending here, I'm afraid.
Just leave me alone.
Fool, you always were.
It's closing time at the Atlantic Island Park, but when a young boy goes missing, Lorraine, a single mother and widow, must stick around to search for her son. As Lorraine ascends the escalator in order to locate Callum, night falls and she is greeted with what now appears to be a rundown amusement park. Confused, Lorraine ventures in and calls out to Callum as she is led through a labyrinth of rides and attractions. As the search for her son ensues, the horrifying history of Atlantic Island Park is revealed through letters, hallucinations, and by that of a ghostly ringmaster identified as the Boogeyman. The park is terrifying and filled with scares that will creep up on you uninvited. The sound design will leave you in despair as you become immersed and eventually begin to question your own sanity. The game does not miss by using an amusement park as a backdrop, but rather by making it an interactive part of the gameplay that drives progression towards a tragic story. This game is at the top of my list. There's a scare that hit me so hard that I screamed so loud my wife screamed and toppled over while doing yoga in the next room over. You gotta play this game if you haven't, and you've got to play it again if you have. What? Broken Mind is an action survival horror where you play as Agent Frank Morgan, a detective with a dark past. The story follows Frank as he investigates the disappearance of a teenage girl named Laura Campbell, who was abducted during a live broadcast.
I hear a noise. Someone is coming. I have to hide.
The gameplay features puzzles, combat, and investigative-style problem-solving. A majority of the fright within this game comes from the internal conflicts that you battle as they haunt and impede on your investigation. Even with cartoonish graphics and less than subpar dialogue, there were plenty of moments Broken Mind had me anxious and at the edge of my seat. In fact, I think the art direction is what turned me onto this game, and I think you should give it a try.
You may wonder what the secret behind our success is. Our loyal clients, obviously. Fantastic people. I feel kind of sorry about killing them. We've decided to use an unusual ingredient in our specialties.
Ravenous Devils is a horror cooking simulator where the secret ingredient is crime. In this gruesome tale, which runs parallels with the likes of Sweeney Todd, you play as Percival and Hildred, who together run a tailor shop and a pub. As the player, you switch between the pair, playing as Percival to eliminate clients and dispose of their bodies via trapdoor in the tailor shop, and as Hildred, who is in charge of turning limbs to lunch and serving the guests in the pub. Throughout the game, the primary objective is to remain undetected and to supply satisfactory service to all the guests that pass through. If the customers aren't satisfied, they'll leave and you won't make enough money to purchase the much-needed upgrades to run your shop effectively. With Percival, it's a balancing act between murder, sewing the victim's clothes into new garments, and keeping the storefront stocked with purchasable items. For Hildred, it's a matter of grinding human remains in the basement and supplying the pub with fresh corpse meat. Hildred is freaking surgical with the meat cleaver, and if you're drooling at the thought of a steak, here's how they're made.
I should clean this from time to time.
Ravenous Devils is addictive and bloody fun. If you need a game that's heavily objective based and downright disturbing, then you'll have to give this one a try. Little Nightmares follows the journey of Six, a little girl on the verge of starvation who must escape from the mall, a vast, mysterious vessel inhabited by monstrous beings who feast on the vulnerable. As Six, you journey through the mall while avoiding detection and solving puzzles. Little Nightmares offers a surreal experience that leaves an uneasy feeling in the pit of your stomach. From witnessing the despair of the protagonist as she loses part of her humanity, to observing the atrocities that are brought on by the gluttonous monsters. The immersive experience is complemented by the unspoken world building that exists within the game. It's a terrifying adventure that doesn't rely on dialogue, but visuals to tell a story. With a dark and twisted atmosphere, this game really does feel like a nightmare that you wouldn't be able to sleep through. Creature design, lighting dynamics, and gameplay are top tier. There's a reason 3 of these exist, and I myself cannot wait to get my hands on the newer installments. Referred to as a video game inspired by the 90s, Janitor Bleeds is a horror game set in a mysterious arcade. Shortly after you become stranded by means of a car accident, you're left wandering around aimlessly until you discover the abandoned structure. Rather than running away from the dilapidated building, like any normal human would do, your curiosity strikes and therefore the exploration begins. Once inside, you gain access to an arcade machine entitled Janitor. In the game within the game, you are tasked with navigating a puzzle that mimics the layout of the actual arcade itself. Progression is acquired through the machine and by venturing around the arcade as you unlock and discover new areas. Tokens that enable you to keep playing the game are collected along the way, and a monster, known as the Entity, stalks you, making that task much more difficult. Get too close to the Entity and your screen will glitch out, causing instant death. It's best to avoid this creature, as well as what appears to be lava on the arcade floors. Ultimately, Janitor Bleed delivers with unique gameplay, a nostalgic atmosphere, and unnerving puzzles that'll have you checking over your shoulder for the monster that's hell-bent on consuming you. P.S. If you get the same restroom scare I did in your playthrough, run for the stalls. Good thing there were toilets nearby because I needed them. And there you have it, a list of games that are sure to help you get your fix. Do you agree, or did I miss your favorite game? Leave suggestions in the comments. I'd love to explore more games that will ultimately scar me for life. As always, remember to have an extra pair of underwear on standby when playing a good horror game.